Hey guys, it's Tori here, and I'm with Shane from Silverstein. How's it going?
Great. How are you?
Long time no see.
Yeah.
How have you been? How's life?
I've been well. You know, it's kind of the same old, just touring America again.
Yeah.
And, you know, doing things. So it's good.
So you guys have a new album out now, Dead Reflection.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. It's kind of new. I guess it's been out for like 6 months.
Relatively.
Yeah.
Do you think when you write a record, are you thinking about what the fans are going to take away from it, or is it more therapeutic for you?
That's a good question. I think I remember when we did the first album, you know, and all the music we'd done before we were signed or whatever, it was just for me, and I never thought anyone would care or listen or anything. So, you know, it was very personal, like deeply personal. And then once the songs got, you know, popular and people were quoting them and getting them tattooed and all that shit, like you kind of start thinking about it a little bit more. And I think that it was a real important thing for me to not try to get that to change what I was writing.
Okay.
Because when we started writing the second album, and I knew everyone was going to hear it, I knew people were going to, you know, care, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
It changes it. It really changes like your approach. So
It's kind of hard to ignore that.
Yeah, and I had to go back and really say, I'm not going to censor myself. I'm not going to, you know, do something. You know, I'd not do something that I wouldn't do because I think someone's gonna care or. So I just was like, no, I'm just gonna do me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the approach I've always taken now. And there's definitely times when I think, you know, you'll write a line and you'll be like, is this a little too far? Like, because I don't want something to sound like to go like a little intense here, but like I don't want it to just be like super like pro-suicide sounding, or because it's not, but I don't want someone to interpret it that way.
Right.
So there's times when I definitely have to look back and go, is this an okay thing to say?
Right.
But for the most part, I just, at the end of the day, I try to keep everything, you know, real and true to what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, especially because people did sort of latch on to that first album, so, you know, they loved it for a reason, so you wouldn't want to change what you're doing.
No, absolutely.
So do you think there's a song, I mean, throughout all of your albums, that for you you're the most proud of because of the way that it impacted people?
That's a good question. There's a few, I think. I think like to give you the kind of obvious answer, like our song My Heroine is like a song that people every day talk to me about, like whether they're going through a relationship, you know, issue, or loss of a loved one, or anything to do with drugs. I mean, the song isn't really about heroin, but, you know, now with that being such a, you know, huge problem in America, well, in Canada too, you know, it's something that every day people hit me up and say, like, I lost my brother or my sister, or I was a struggling addict, and your song kind of helped me pull myself out of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a song that really has resonated, and I mean, it's a song that's what, 13 years old,
Yeah.
and it's still like relevant. So I think that's special, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, especially with that song, there's almost been a little bit of a revival with it in the last couple years, as Emo Night has sort of become a big thing. That's a staple song on the playlist.
I guess so, yeah.
So what is it like for you to kind of see some new life brought to a song after 13 years with things like Emo Night coming up?
To be honest, I haven't noticed very much.
You haven't noticed?
The only time I've noticed is when I've like been at those things and they've been playing that stuff. But like, you know, I don't think that there's a lot of people coming out to our shows because they heard our song at Emo Night. I don't really think that's a thing. But it's cool, and I like it, and I've done a few of them, and I've DJ'd, and I went and hung out, and
so you're a fan of it then?
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, I think there's some great songs from that era that maybe in some ways, like you said, were a little bit forgotten and are coming back, and even that'll happen to me at those things. Like, I forget what song I heard. I forget what song it was, but I heard it and I was like, oh man, I haven't heard this in years. Like, this was sick. And you know, and so I could throw it on, you know, maybe on Spotify in the car or something. So I think it helps, and like, we're a band we never like stopped. We never like went away and broke up and did a reunion tour.
Thank goodness, by the way.
Well, yeah, it is, but like people want to rope us in sometimes with other bands that went away and did a reunion show or reunion album. We never did that.
Yeah.
So for us, it's kind of just been sort of trucking along.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool that era is getting some light to it, because there were some cool things about that era.
Absolutely. And speaking of just sort of this world of music, I feel like especially in the age of social media, people love to compare one band to another. Like, oh, so-and-so sounds like so-and-so. Do you find that Silverstein gets any comparisons that you're just kind of tired of hearing about?
A lot of times it's bands that we're friends with and our peers, you know, like someone like Senses Fail, which is like funny because we literally started at the same time. We were almost signed, not a lot of people know this, we were both almost signed to this record company called ECA before they ended up on Drive Thru, and we ended up on Victory, but we came up like the same time and our music was similar and our names both started with S's. So it was like all these sort of things, and still to this day, all the time we get compared to them or say, why don't you tour with Senses Fail? We're like, we have. They're like, do it again. So that's one we get a lot. For sure, but it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, and so speaking of the new album, back on track here, one song that really stuck out to me was Wake Up. What was the lyrical inspiration behind that one? It seems a little, that seemed like a dark one.
It's, the chorus is literally just wake up, wake up, wake up, there's somebody calling. And that's basically just the idea of that wake up call. And, you know, some people get it and get there, and some people don't.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that wake-up call, that's when you go, you know, darker and deeper and deeper and deeper into it. So I think for me writing it, and the album is a concept album, and it does tell a story, and about 3/4 of the way through, it stops telling the kind of past and it goes into the present, and then the last couple songs are about the future and about what I foresaw things happening with myself if I didn't figure, you know, my shit out. Yeah. So that's, Wake Up is basically about that, about getting your wake up call and it being too late, you know, and realizing like when it's all too late. So I guess the message there for people is to, you know, realize that if you keep going down this self-destructive path, or even a path where you're just very like stuck in a way and you're not trying to, you know, make yourself better or improve and do whatever you can in your life, I think that's the message, is just that you have to get there before it's too late.
Yeah, and just kind of touching on the fact that it is a concept album. You guys have done a lot of concept albums lately, so you like a challenge, don't you?
Well, yeah.
Or do you find that it's easier that way?
It's no. Well, we did the first 3 albums pretty much the same way, which were just, we wrote a bunch of songs and we didn't think about the order of the songs or how the songs were going to flow into each other. It's just like, these are songs.
Right.
And then the 4th album, I think we just knew we needed to do something a little more special, I think. I think we felt a little like our 3rd album wasn't our best, so we really needed to work on that. So the 4th album was like a high concept album, A Shipwreck in the Sand. Tells a story, it's got musical themes, it's pretty, very involved.
Yeah.
And we did that, and I was like, never again. That was way too much stress, but everyone loved the record so much. Yeah. So we did record number 5, Rescue, which was not a concept record, and then since then, album 6, album 7, and album 8, all concept records. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Like the record, This Is How the Wind Shifts, we had the songs in pairs. You know, and it was kind of like the first song on side 1 was the story, and then the second was, well, what if there was a single event changed, the kind of what if moment, you know? So we found there's a lot of different ways to do a concept album, and I think it's something that has become important to us, and our fans appreciate it too. So I don't know if we're gonna stop, but maybe.
I think it's really cool.
When we run out of ideas, we'll stop.
For fans to be able to like dig a little deeper into an album. Like I remember the first time hearing This Is How the Wind Shifts and realizing what the concept was, my mind was blown. So it is kind of cool for fans to have a little bit more to look forward to than just songs. You know, there's a lot of thought that goes into it, which I appreciate.
Yeah, no, totally. I think it is. There's another level. You know, it's like basically at its core, you know, an album is music and words. You know, music and lyrics. But when you add a concept into it, it takes on this additional thing, and I think it can really make both the music and the lyrics mean more when they're, you know, when you're just talking about it.
Another thing I want to touch on with you is Warped Tour. Silverstein is no stranger to Warped Tour. 8 years.
They got beers on Warped Tour. Yeah.
This is true. So 8 years you've done the tour, and they just announced the end of an era. It's going to be the last time they do a full national run. What are your thoughts on the end of that, and what do you foresee happening for the summers to come without a Warped Tour? What do you think is going to come next for us?
I know your thoughts.
Oh no, I'm Warped Tori. This is deep.
I know. Like actually, like my username doesn't have Warped in it, you know. So I mean, for us, it's like really end of an era. We've done so many. I think Billy added it up and said we've done 235 Warped shows.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's going to be very emotional, I think. You know, not just the last show, which is in Florida.
Yeah.
Not just the last show, but every day will be, because for someone, that's their last Warped Tour.
Yeah. Every day is going to be like a little funeral, a little bit. Yeah.
So it makes it like sadder and sadder. You know, every time. You know, every day is going to be like a little harder and harder to get through for people, and I don't love that.
I know.
But you know, I think all good things must come to an end.
Yeah.
Pardon the cliche, and I'm sure someone else will come up with something to fill the void. It will never be Warped Tour.
Yeah.
Warped Tour is it is. But you know, maybe somebody from the Warped Tour camp has an idea to do something cool. Maybe there'll be some more regional festivals, and maybe someone will do something even better. Yeah. Who knows?
We'll see.
But we're sad to see it go, and it's been something that I know a lot of people and our fans have. The first time they saw us was on Warped Tour, so a lot of great memories. And
but I think the fact that people are sad just goes to show how much it touched people. So it did something really great for our scene, and it's not the end, right?
No, it's not the end. You got a chance to go one more time.
Are you gonna go to any of them?
Oh,
do you
I'm
think?
gonna go. I mean, I've either gone or performed every single one since 1997.
Yeah. So you can't stop now.
No. How many is that? That's crazy. That's like over 20 years of Warped Tour.
I hate to say this, but I was 3 years old for your first Warped Tour. That's really young.
Yeah, I'm old.
Yeah, so that just goes to show, like, it's been around a long time. It's time for something new, maybe.
I have a feeling there's going to be something's going to happen. Something, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not being
We're just
cryptic.
Speculating.
I'm not being cryptic at all. I have no information. I just feel like after all this time of that crew, and you know them all, the production crew, doing it, I think that someone's going to do something. Yeah. And it won't be called the Warped Tour maybe, but it'll be something, and I think that hopefully that fills the void for the bands and for the fans, because
for sure.
we have to go to Europe every year now. Oh my God.
That would be a lot. And speaking of things on the horizon, things coming up in the future, you are on this tour right now, Tonight Alive. What else is coming up after this that your fans can look forward to?
Well, we're doing, like I said about Europe, we're going to Europe 3 times this year. And we're going to Australia with Comeback Kid.
Nice.
And then we're looking right now at doing something real cool in America in the fall.
Oh.
So stay tuned for that.
Sounds like a good plan. Well, thank you so much for hanging out.
Yeah. Awesome.
Always great talking to you. Everybody watching Dead Reflection, pick it up, subscribe for more interviews, and we'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye.